You are now listening to Season 3, Episode 2 of Terminal 234. On this episode, we talk about the Gayle King controversy with her interview with Lisa Leslie, as well as the Okada Ban and the NBA trade deadline. As for our main topic, we talk all things traveling to Nigeria. So stay tuned and you'll hear all we get into. Welcome back to Terminal 234. It is Faye on the mic with...
Yo, what's up? This is Dolapo. How are you guys doing? This is Terminal 234. Woo! Somebody told me that our intros, like, sometimes we start off like, hi, welcome. So
we're too chill.
We need to be hype.
But I'm sitting here like, that was so forced, Dolapo. I don't know what that was, but I guess, put some sauce in it.
I'm mad hype right now, guys. I'm so excited for this episode. How are you feeling, Faye? Are you excited as well?
I'm feeling real good. I am excited. I guess I'll turn on my pizzazz. Yes, we're here. Episode 2, Season 3. Let's get it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So, starting off with what everyone's been talking about this week, the Gayle King thing.
Oh, yeah.
I actually don't want to talk too much about it, but we can talk about it just because it's a major thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. But for those that don't know, Gayle King was interviewing Lisa Leslie, who used to play for the LA Sparks, Los Angeles Sparks, one of the greatest WNBA players ever. She was also friends with Kobe, which I think is important to know. And I don't know 100%, but I want to say the whole interview was because of Kobe.
I believe so too, yeah.
Kobe's passing away, rest in peace. And during the interview, there were clips that were released. I haven't listened to the whole interview. I don't even know if it's out yet.
I've only heard clips as well.
Yeah, but there were clips where she basically asked about how should we view Kobe with the previous allegations of sexual assaults, which I don't know if you remember, but this was years ago. He
early
was
2000s.
Yeah, early 2000s, was accused of sexually assaulting someone. Yeah, this girl that worked at a hotel. The whole case basically got dismissed. They did settle out of court in the civil case, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Yeah. But the point really isn't about the details of the case. The point is, why are you asking Lisa Leslie about this at all?
Yeah.
So I'll let you go in first.
I was actually hoping you would start, but fine, I'll go ahead and start. My response to the whole thing is I understand the outrage, because I guess that's where we're headed with this. There's a lot of outrage about her asking the question.
Yeah.
I think the most prominent person to speak out about it is Snoop Dogg. He kind of made a whole thing about it. He was very expressive, to say the least. To put it lightly, he was very expressive about his views on the whole situation. And it's a sentiment that was agreed upon by many. My thing about it is I wasn't so outraged about her asking it, because it's just naturally going to come up, because unfortunately with anybody's legacy, it's usually not all good. It's rare that it's 100% good.
It wouldn't be real if it was 100% good.
It wouldn't be real, exactly. Actually, part of the reason that his legacy is so strong is because of maybe some of his transgressions, or he's a human being. He wasn't never painted to be perfect. He never tried to paint himself as that, so people can relate to that. Exactly. So in death, your legacy comes up quite a bit, and it has to be talked about in extent when you're of the caliber that Kobe Bryant is. Yes. My issue has never been that it's brought up. It's about the way it's brought up and the care that's taken when it's brought up. You have to be nuanced about it. It's a whole conversation there that you can't just throw out without realizing the implications it has. And such implications include that he is a black man. So you have to realize, as a black woman, the optics are going to look way different than any other person talking about it. Like a white male, a white woman, anybody else. You have to realize the way it comes across. And you have to, bring that into your views. You have to include that in the way you're approaching the conversation. And I think the main issue was Gayle kind of she was so... She layered it on way too thick. Something when Lisa rebutted, she would say something like, well, you weren't there, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know.
Yeah, that was an exchange where she basically said, where Lisa Leslie basically answered her question, said, well, I've never known him to be like that. I've never seen him approach me or anyone like that. I know players that or not even out of like anything wrong, but are like a lot more aggressive and like, oh, can you get me her number? Like he's never been that kind of person to me. Yeah. And Gayle King basically just retorted with, oh, but you wouldn't know. So then to me, that's actually my whole issue with the whole question. It was, she wouldn't know. So why are you asking her in the first place? Like, what was the exchange going to bring up? Yeah. Like, was she going to be like, oh, you're so right. Like, yeah, let's think about that. And that's her friend. That's why I think I started off with like, oh yeah, like they were friends. So you're not going to ask his friend at that, like, especially like this quickly after it happened. Like, that's just, the timing is off. There's nothing that's going to come out of that exchange other than you bring it back up.
As a reporter, your job is to ask uncomfortable questions, is to ask uncomfortable questions, especially when it is pertinent to the whole conversation that's being had. But maybe, like, again, acknowledge that, okay, I understand that you guys are friends. Do you have anything you want to say about it, and accept whatever she says as what she says, and don't come off as defensive or as like you have something to gain from poking and prodding, because again, let's even think about Gayle's personal situation with circumstances like this. Her co-anchor Charlie Rose on CBS had not similar but allegations in that whole Me Too
sexual harassment.
Yes, and the way she approached it is, I'm friends with the guy, so I have to be careful about how I talk about it. And nobody, to my knowledge, really pressed her on it to the point where she had to like come out against him or anything of that sort. So again, you should maybe think about how you had to handle the situation when it came to a friend of yours, and be more careful about how you're talking to Lisa about it. That was my issue with it. Not that she brought it up, period. And I kind of cringe when people are like, as a black woman, you shouldn't bring it up. It's like...
I don't agree with that. Exactly. I don't agree with that. I just think it's a matter of the timing of it. You know, I think that if it's a question that's going to come up, right, which like you've kind of talked about, it's going to come up. Yeah. I just think it's a matter of, do you have to ask now, right? Like, it's kind of like, can you wait another month? Can you wait like a couple of weeks? Like, why do we have to, in this moment while people are still grieving, why do we have to be like, oh, well, let's remember like everything? Like, no, when people pass, that's why you try to celebrate them.
I get you celebrate
the good. Like, I don't know how people view it, but to me, I don't look at it as we're ignoring everything that ever happened. Like, I would never say Kobe was an angel. You know what I mean? Like, no, we're not doing that, but we're just being sad that he lost his life anyway. Like, a lot of the people that have talked about Kobe have talked about how he matured, how he grew, how like he became a better person. All these different things. So it's like, can we allow him to just like, can we give him that credit?
And I appreciate people that keep saying he's not guilty. Like, of course, if like R. Kelly dies today, you're not going to not talk about it, but that's a lot of it is because, unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, he's guilty in the court of public opinion. So of course the way you talk about it is different than somebody who's been found innocent. Like, it's not something that you can ignore. Or even if he wasn't found innocent per se, it was settled out of court. He wasn't found guilty, period, point blank. I just want people to remember, and I don't know, I could be on the wrong side of this, but I want people to remember that this is not like a friend, a family member talking at his funeral. This is a reporter, and this is information that people who aren't Kobe fans want to know or hear. You know what I mean? Like, and I get it. I get where you're coming from. In death, maybe be more careful about the timing of such questions. I'm just saying, like, she's doing a job.
Be more careful, and just the timing was off, and you just don't ask that person to Lisa Leslie. Like, you can ask the question in a general way, but you don't need to ask her. Like, think if someone dies, like, you don't go ask their husband or wife, like, oh yeah, so your husband just died. Sorry about that. So let's talk about how like he did something 20 years ago. Like, why are you gonna ask me that? Like, what am I going? You know what I mean? That's the only part that I really hate. Was that there was no point in it, because nothing was gonna come out of it other than what has come out of it. There was no other way. But let's move off of Gayle King, because I don't think I care about her that much.
About it enough.
But let's talk about the NBA. There were a couple of trades in NBA. So if you guys don't know, we don't talk about the NBA enough on here, but we are NBA fans.
Yeah, both of us
support the league and the sport and all that.
That's the only sport I care about, to be honest.
Yeah, so NBA is like what's popping. So NBA trade deadline just came and went on Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern. The big trade, I think. Well, there's a couple of big trades, but the big trade was kind of like the
biggest is the D'Lo one.
Honestly, it's the biggest.
Are you gonna say the Iguodala one?
The Iguodala trade to me is like weird, because I don't know why they would give him a contract extension after the fact. Like, it's weird to me. I'm like, okay, like, I understand he's gonna help your team get better, but he's also old. So, and he seemed to me like he was already starting to break down at Golden State. Yeah. So I'm like, I wouldn't want to give him an extension, but
I would say the likes of like Pat Riley and the Heat brand and community as a whole is all about like long-term family type relationships. You know what I mean? I feel like it's bigger than just his skill set or whatever he can give them. It's more about like the whole optics, the whole relationship, the vibes.
Of course, yeah. And I think they have a good track record. And
yeah, just, like, exactly.
They know how to deal with players when they're aging and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, the D'Angelo Russell trade was something that we all saw coming months ago. It was like the least surprising thing, except for the fact that like he was traded for Andrew Wiggins, that part of it.
Right.
But him being traded by the Warriors was like, yes, they signed him to trade him. Like literally when the GM Bob Myers was like, we're not signing him to trade him, it was like, yes, you are. Because he doesn't fit on your team.
Even on what you're saying, though, another reason why we saw this coming a while ago is that D'Lo had like an interview with, I think it was Slam Magazine or something, where he had said a while ago that he's definitely going to link up with KarlAnthony Towns and who's his other friend? Devin Booker. He said that the three of them are going to play together at one point on one team. And he basically prophesized
Can I just say something real quick about that those trio players? That trio, their team together would suck. They would not be good.
You don't think they would play
well
together?
The Timberwolves are not going to be good with D'Angelo Russell. They're literally, it's like a...
Ooh, that's a hot take.
It really shouldn't be, though. D'Angelo Russell is like... He's a good player, but he plays zero defense. KarlAnthony Towns plays zero defense.
Yeah, it's a great offensive matchup, but you're right. Defensively,
if you put two players that don't play any defense, like they're not like okay. Let's do this comparison. Do you think both of them combined are that much better than like John Wall and Bradley Beal? I don't think that they are.
No, you're right.
If they're struggling in the East and you're in the West, they're not doing anything.
But it is still a good trade when it comes to him versus Andrew Wiggins. Like he's definitely a step above Andrew Wiggins. Like we can't ignore that. And together they will be a great offensive duo. But you're right, they're still lacking as a team in defensive.
I think that they'll sell tickets. I don't think they're really going to make the playoffs. And if they do, they're going to be like the 8th seed, like in a year or two. And they're not going to be.
I will say though, we don't need Booker to finish off that trio. Like you had mentioned, we need like a stronger defensive player.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's to me like the Warriors want to trade, of course.
You think?
Not even close. Yes, they got Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins fits their team. He's young. He could still be really good. Like people hate on him so much, but
because he kind of plateaued and he was number one pick. It looks
if
weird.
There was any team he was gonna go to that he would actually improve,
it is GSW.
He's not gonna be like I think of him as like he's Harrison Barnes, but like he's actually better than Harrison Barnes. Like a very good
role player. Like will do his job well.
They still have Steph. They still have Klay
like
Thompson.
Star.
They don't need him to do the most. If he averages 15 and plays defense for once, like that's good.
Yeah,
and his reputation will go up. Like I just think and they get a pick. Don't forget to get a first round pick.
They do get a first round pick. That
makes so much sense for them, I think. Okay. So yeah, NBA trade deadline. That's I think all I want to talk about.
Yeah, I think those are the only two trades.
Yeah, those are the major ones. Let's talking about like stuff that's going on in the world. We're not talking about that, but let's talk about it now. So in Lagos this week, starting on I believe Saturday, they have implemented fully the Okada Ban. I don't think that's the official name, but that's pretty much what it is.
I mean,
it's a ban on Okadas and Keke Napeps. And if you don't know what Okada is, I believe, fact check me, but I believe that Okada might actually just like be in Oxford Dictionary, so you might be able to look it up now.
Oh, really? I can't fact check that. So.
I was hiding that little news that I found out, but they added a couple words, Nigerian words, to the Oxford Dictionary. Nice. So Okada is basically like it's a motorcycle they use for public transportation in all over Nigeria, but very much in Lagos. They're like everywhere because there's so much traffic for you to get anywhere on time.
And for those of you that are thinking motorcycle, public transportation, that sounds unsafe. It is unsafe.
Yeah, I mean, they have different things. They wear helmets now and they have hair nets. But I have never been on one and I don't plan on going on one in my life. So.
I have never been on one and I regret it. I would have liked to have at least gone on one Okada ride in my life.
I'm sorry if you've had to do that. You know, it doesn't make me bougie.
But if you didn't hear Miriam in the background, she definitely just called Dolapo bougie for it.
Are missing out.
I already said it. I would have wanted to at least go on one Okada ride before.
Yeah, maybe like down the block. I don't want to be on the highway with it. I'm
not about to be on like Third Mainland Bridge or anything. No, thank you. Yes, no. Down the street to go get some agege bread and call it a day.
I want to do it in the streets in Lekki, like one street that has no cars, like that right. Yeah. So yeah, it's had a pretty big effect. A lot of people have been complaining. There's been protests. Just because traffic is really bad and people feel like this just makes traffic so much worse because now they have to be in cars because this doesn't alleviate the issues with cars on the road. It just emphasizes it. And also people feel like the Okada men need like a way to make money.
I mean, it is a huge job market in Lagos.
It is. So it's like they feel basically like they're being attacked by this policy. And the policy is not a new policy, by the way. It's a policy that's been on the books, I believe, since 2018. It's just being like fully enforced now, where it's like they're arresting people like for driving Okadas on the road. So of course people are still driving them, but they're still around, but very scarce because people are maybe less willing to risk their livelihood and life to make a little bit of money. So, you know, we hope things get better there. I hope that they have a better plan or a bigger plan. Something that I would suggest to the Nigerian government, because, you know, they need my suggestions. They need to, like, just stop people from driving their cars on the road. There's just too many cars.
Just end driving?
They need to limit it. Like no, because there are countries that do that. Like, I know in China, they have, like, depending on what kind of license plate you have and stuff like that, you can only drive certain days. Oh. So it limits how, like, they need to limit, they need to limit how many cars can be on the road.
Or at a time.
Because the problem is there's just too many cars for the roads. So you need more roads, bigger roads, of course. But now,
better infrastructure. But
that takes longer. We also just need to limit the number of people that can be driving.
Because we are a very populous country.
Yeah, so and cars are cheap enough now that a lot of people have cars. Yeah. Like, it's not like maybe back in the day like when no one had cars. Yeah, it's just a regular thing if you have a car. So yeah, I don't know. Anything else you want to dive into before we get into our main topic for the day?
No, I think we're good.
New music.
Ooh, yes. How could we forget our newest segment?
Yes, new music segment.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, I'm not going to lie. I haven't really thought about it. So I'll let you start.
All right. So my new music segments, I don't have a song for you. I have an album. You know, I'm kind of my album ways right now. I haven't actually listened to the whole album, so I'm kind of faking a little bit. But what I've heard of it, I like so far. I've heard it's good. Okay. And I like the artist, so I know that it's good. I just haven't gone around to listen to the whole thing. Okay. It's the album by Russ.
Ooh, I like Russ.
I really like Russ.
Look at you. Yeah. Yes, I like
the album is called Shake the Snow Globe. Yeah. It's a really good album. It's like rap, but it's not just like hardcore rap. It's like very singy, songy, and he's just really good. He makes really good music.
Yeah, I do like
I just like the way he like thinks.
I like his vibe. You know what? Let me give you guys a little bit of an anecdote. I've liked him for a while, and like as a throwback, he was on Everyday Struggle way back when, and I was liking his vibe. I was feeling it, and then Joe came back because it was like a Friday episode Russ was on. Joe came back. He was all mad and shit, and like talked Russ out the room. Oh yeah. Not out the room literally. I know by the way. Okay, so yeah. And I was like sitting there like, bro, you would love Russ. Like you would love him. Like his vibe is so like Joe. Like in terms of how he talks, what he
This is Joe Budden, by the way. In case
sorry. Guys. If you're not like a regular listener of this podcast, you would know, but you wouldn't know. Sorry, but yeah. I was thinking like you would love him, and now all of a sudden Joe Budden is Mr. Russ, and like that's
his love is probably a little too much, like it's kind of groupie status, but yeah, Russ is awesome. I like Russ.
He's really cool. For me, let me say an album I've listened to a couple times over since it came out is the 07 O'Shea one. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I've heard about it, but I don't actually know this artist. But like, it's like all those music that like I don't listen to, but people hype, so I need to listen to.
Yeah, no, like you would know her from like some projects with Kanye. She was on that Pusha T album, the most recent one. What is it called? You know what I'm talking about. She had a song. I think it was like Santa Maria or something like that. Either way,
I love that song.
Yeah, that's my favorite. You know the girl singing on it, Santeria. There we go. That's her. Okay. So you know her from that. She had some appearances on Ye and whatnot. Okay. Her full length project is so good. It's very vibey. So if you're into that type of music, you would be into it. It's just cool all around, different sonically. Like it doesn't really sound like much else going on right now. So yeah, it's a good project.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, guys, check those out. Let us know what you think, and you know, of course, let us know whose music you like better. Run a competition.
He will not let that one go out. Music is too subjective for that. I don't want this to be a competition. Music is love.
Everything is a competition. Love is a competition. Okay.